What's your sleep paralysis demon?
None. The weirdest thing is the dog knows. Oh, it's far away.
Like when Big is like brushing up against you?
Yeah, no. Anytime it's happened, he reacts because I could see him.
Yeah,
I just can't do anything. But he's all wide-eyed, like he can pick up on something.
Yeah, something's wrong with you. Yeah,
that's weird.
I was actually really wishing I had like an animal to like comfort me last night after my sleep paralysis bullshit.
A weighted blanket helped me with that.
Well, no, it was more of like I just wanted like a living thing.
I mean, preemptively, a weighted blanket helped me a lot.
I don't know how that would help with sleep paralysis.
I know. I don't know. I tried it and it worked.
Strange.
I think it's because you already have the weight on you as you're falling asleep, so you're not suddenly feeling the weight on you.
I mean, that would help me with my restless leg syndrome and my Tourette's, I would think.
I'm just saying it helped me.
That's weird.
But yeah, you see what I'm saying, though? You already have the weight on you, so you're not suddenly feeling the weight.
I don't
Maybe.
know. But it's not like necessarily like weight that's happening to me. It's like, I don't know. Because
you're already pinned down, so you can't suddenly feel pinned down if you're already pinned down. I don't know. I'm just saying it.
I don't know. Just weird. Because like I was saying, it felt like something was wrapped around me, which I guess that is kind of weight. But like it's not like I'm like lying there like on my back and I feel like weight on me. It's like I'm on my side and I feel like something's trying to enter my body through my back. Like I legit was like, am I fucking like am I being possessed by a demon right now?
My blanket's 25 pounds.
Do this.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob. This is Tommy and Jacob's mixtape. Can you do an Irish accent?
I don't
want to try it?
It's gonna be like when we talk to those French guys.
Oh, that was a good time. I forgot about that. I was actually just thinking about that. There's this funny video that I remember Anthony showed me years ago. It was kind of like a mocking thing of like how to do an Irish accent. And like, it was pretty much just like this guy standing next to a sheep and like this kid like watching the tutorial video. And he's like, oh, to speak Irish, to say, oh, what a lovely sack of potatoes. And the guy's like, what a lovely sack of potatoes. And he's like, no, like this. What a lovely sack of potatoes. Like it's obviously like an absurd, like, yeah, but it's really fucking stupid and funny to watch. Actually, I'll show it to you later.
Yeah,
it's old YouTube.
Okay,
like it's gonna be like rough footage. Anywho, yeah. Hey everybody, what a lovely sack of potatoes. It's like a caricature of a fucking Irish person. Today, happy St. Patrick's Day as well. Yes,
yeah, we were doing like a 2009 animation block, and so since this is falling on St. Paddy's Day, we were like, oh, let's do like an Irish one.
Yeah.
So we're doing the Secret of Kells.
Yes. I never heard of it,
which I've always wanted to watch it, but never got around to it. Yeah,
I mean, I just had never heard of it, and I thought it was a lot more recent, and we'll kind of get into that as probably reason why in a minute or two as we talk about it. But we just thought it would be kind of cool to actually do something that is 100% like an actual like Irish heritage type of thing, as opposed to like, oh, Leprechaun, which we almost did,
or Boondock Saints.
Yeah, because like especially like I was looking into just like what St. Patrick's Day is all about. Every year I always forget, and I'm like, well, what is St. Patrick's Day about again? And like, oh, St. Patrick, it's St. Patrick's Day. Mm-hmm. But then like really like there is like a lot of like criticism and like problem with people just dressing up as leprechauns. And like the whole like we're gonna get drunk, like Americans just turned every like holiday and appropriated it into some fucking thing of like getting drunk day. Yeah. So like there's negative there is like criticism of like what St. Patrick's Day has become a negative representation of Irish people.
And as a bartender, I fucking hate St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, it's
a shit show.
My manager got a keg of Irish Death for St. Patrick's Day.
Fuck is Irish Death?
It's a stout. It's actually a pretty good stout.
Irish Death.
That we're just going to have forever. So, like, we go through stouts like fucking never. I sell maybe one a week. Huh.
It's not called an Irish car bomb anymore.
Oh, I think it's just called an car bomb.
No, I think they took. I think they completely changed all that because it was.
I can't even remember what's in that. It's
Jameson, Bailey's, and then Guinness,
and it's dropped on Guinness, right?
Yeah, and you gotta chug it real quick because it curdles.
Mm-hmm. Anywho,
yummy.
So yeah, so happy St. Patrick's Day, and we're gonna be talking about some Irish stuff today as best as we can. I still like when we talk about Banshee of Inisherin, it's like I don't really know that much about Irish history or culture, so I was definitely just kind of lost through a lot of this movie. So Secret of Kells. Why don't you give a quick synopsis?
Young boy must complete a book.
Yeah.
That's kind of super layman terms, but that's
the Book of Kells. What is the Book of Columbine? No, that's
Columba.
Hold on. Yeah,
Book of Columba. So yes, the Book of Kells is, and this is offline, from online, is an eliminated manuscript gospel book in Latin containing the 4 gospels of the New Testament, together with various prefatory texts and tables. So this is about the creation of the Book of Kells.
Yes.
And the young boy that is not assigned, but tasked with completing the most beautiful and magical page in. And
I was having a hard time. Is this kind of like, this is just these people's interpretation of how it was made? This isn't like any type of lore around how
not
this
that
was
I know
created.
Of. I think this is just an idea of.
Yeah, because I really wanted to find. All I could find for the Book of Kells was just more of like it's. Just it being about the 4 gospels.
Yeah,
being So yeah, I mean, this movie, it came out. It was first released in Film Festival January 30th of 2009 at Garamond Film Festival, I think I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And then it wasn't released in Ireland until March 3rd of 2009. And then it just like went through like film festivals for like a year or two. And then I didn't know. I was trying to find like the U.S. theatrical release, and it seems like its full release in the United States outside of film festivals wasn't until 2016.
Oh,
which I was like, that's crazy. And like, so there's no like box office results for this or anything like that. Like I couldn't find it. Like I couldn't find like. Yeah, unless it was in 2010 or 2011 or something. I don't know.
Well, I read that it would cost about like, what was it? About $8 million.
Yeah.
And then gross 3.5. But this isn't really a film where you look at that because that's not the point of it.
Yeah, exactly.
The point of this movie is to tell this story through the art medium.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
It's like that doesn't really.
But I did count for 2009 movies that I watched.
Mm-hmm.
I had 45.
I had less this time.
Less than me, or just less than what you counted last time?
Less than I counted last time.
I don't remember the last time I counted.
I think it was Friday the 13th.
That makes sense, yeah, because I remember seeing that on there.
But I counted 53 this time.
53?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've been way more careful.
Yeah, because I'm getting in, like, sometimes I'll look at a movie and it's like, I'm actually starting to count, like, I think I may have watched that when I was like, it's like I can look at the title and be like, I know the premise, but if I can't remember like the end or something, I'm like, maybe I didn't really.
That's
watch
the thing.
it.
There's some movies I think I've counted where I like just know, like I know it well enough that I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen that. But then I sit there and I think about it. I go, okay, do you remember actually anything of that movie specifically? And if I'm like, no, then I just know it from like media or
like one of them that I remember just quickly off the list is Knowing with Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, see,
I know that movie, but I haven't seen it because I get it. I always think of Next, which I have seen. So, the Nicolas Cage movies can just also easily get jumbled up. So for review ratings on The Secret of Kells, it had a 7.6 on IMDb, a 90% tomato meter, and an 85 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So Rotten Tomatoes is definitely a little bit more higher rating. And I see why critics were all about this movie for like its animation style and whatnot. Also, the history of the animation for this movie is really, really fucking cool, in my opinion. Which I guess we can get into next. Do you want to just talk about? You want to just bring up that it was just Cartoon Saloon really quick?
Sure.
Yeah. So this was one of the main. I mean, this started an Irish animation studio that took a lot of inspiration from like Studio Ghibli. Ghibli, is that? Yeah. I should know how to pronounce his name. Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was thinking, I'm just like, I can't remember. It is Ghibli, right?
Yeah.
Or Ghibli?
Now you're... Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, you're making me second guess now.
I'm going down a rabbit hole. Anyway, so Cartoon Saloon, which was founded by Nora Twomey, Tomm Moore, and Paul Young. Did you
Yeah, no, I'm following along with
Okay.
Yeah, I'm following along.
And they were trying to get like this movie specifically, they've been working on since like 1999. And they had a handful of other projects kind of like, start and kick off like their whole thing. But like this movie was kind of like their like I don't want to say brainchild. It was like their dream project, and they were able to get it going. And now they've put out a couple of really fucking awesome movies. It seems like that. I mean, it's really cool to kind of see like this Irish animation studio slowly probably like pick up some like momentum probably over the next decade and whatnot. Like this is the beginning of like a really cool animation studio with very specific animation style.
Very, yeah.
That is very much influenced by like Miyazaki, and then it had like there was like a Samurai Jack feel to it as well.
Yeah, the character design had a very Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
And then it was also like simultaneously it was very geometrical and centered, but then also not at the same time.
Like its symmetry was
symmetry was like very there, but not there. It was very interesting. Very interesting looking.
And you can definitely took a lot of inspiration from like the artwork that's through like the Book of Kells and whatnot.
Very Celtic knots and stuff like that. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, and a lot of
snowflakes were like
a lot of religious, specifically like Christian and I guess Catholic as well, imagery.
Well, mixed with like Celtic, pagan, kind of mixed in there too. Like the snowflakes, I thought was really cool when I noticed that they were like Celtic knots. Coming down. I was like, that was a cool little touch.
There's a lot of really cool animation in this. The animation, this movie is animated like, and it's also hand drawn.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
So it's just fucking beautiful. But yeah, so this specifically. Like out of the three people, Paul Young is more like a producer side CEO of Cartoon Saloon, but this one specifically was written and directed by Tomm Moore, who also inside of Cartoon Saloon and their cartoons have done ones that I noticed that he worked on as well is called Wolf Walkers and Song of the Sea,
both similar kind of art style.
And then Nora Twomey is credited as co-director, but then she's also then fully directed more ones called like The Breadwinner and My Father's Dragon.
That's what I got.
Yeah. And then we have for a writer, which I thought was interesting for screenplay, Fabrice Ziolkowski, who I was just kind of like it's the only thing that I kind of like saw, and like they have I looked at their Wikipedia, and they're a French-American screenwriter, director, producer, and voice director. Really best known for like writing the screenplay for this, and then also has a avant-garde documentary film called LAX, which is about like the LA and like the underbelly of LA type thing, which I'm very interested in kind of watching. So yeah. And then also like the Secret of Kells, like this did it win? Yeah, it won. No, it was nominated for best animated movie at the Oscars this year. Nominations. Yeah. Best animated feature on the 82nd Academy Awards in 2010. So, I mean, this film has a good amount of accolades to it as well, which, I mean, and mainly because I feel like it's interpretive art style. And
Yeah, it had 8 wins and 5 nominations.
yeah.
That's cool. I didn't actually notice that. Grand Prix Award for Best Film in the International Animation Film Festival. Huh.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, I mean, this was just kind of a pleasant little enjoyable movie. For like voice actors, really the only most notable person is Brendan Gleeson,
Who he did in the Banshees of
Inisherin, yeah. And I just went all like, and then like I just kind of like looking at the other people, like it's just filled with like just Irish performers, like people that are like more well known in Ireland, really.
Yeah, like because even then it's like a lot of them I looked up and it's like a lot of Irish stuff that I've never heard of.
Yeah, exactly. Like Evan McGuire, who does the voice of Brendan, who's the young boy in this. His Wikipedia, it's very short. It's just like he's an Irish voice actor, athlete, drama player, and music teacher. Yeah. I mean, he made his debut as a voice actor through this movie, Secret of Kells. And then even like, I couldn't even find anything for Christen Mooney, who did the voice of Aisling.
Which I love that name.
Well, you know what that is, right?
No.
Aisling is it's a visual poem. If I remember correctly. Hold on a second. Because like, what was really interesting was like the names through this, like the cat's name, Pangar Bon. That's an old Irish poem that's about like this guy writing a poem about his white cat.
Okay.
And then where is the Aisling? 1 second. Oh, and even like Crom Croc is an old pagan god, like pre-Christian Ireland.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah. The lore of that. But where did it go? Where is her?
Once you meet Aiden, who is played by Mick Lally, right? Yeah. Mick Lally. That's when I started getting that really Samurai Jack kind of feel.
Sorry.
Didn't they bring that back?
For a short period, yeah. God damn it, I really want to find this.
What are you looking for?
I'm trying to find like where, like it's like Aisling. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, Aisling is a vision poem, a poetic genre that developed in the 17th and 18th centuries in Irish language poetry. The word may have a number of variations in its pronunciation. Yeah, so, like the names that they had with like for like this like the cat, which has a very spiritual, like kind of has like a weird spiritual nature to it. Also, that cat lived way fucking long. I can't believe that cat was alive at the end of this movie.
I was convinced the cat was Aisling.
I thought so as well.
I thought that's what we were leading to.
Yeah. But yeah. Do you have anything else for like actors or anything like that? Like before we get into your reviews?
No, not really. Just because I don't know. There's a lot of Irish people in this. A lot of people in this that I don't really.
I mean, there's a lot of art studios that went into making this as well. It's not just Cartoon Saloon.
Well, yeah, because it's a French, Belgian, Irish collaboration, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, because it says there's a Mathieu's, Viva Film, Cartoon Saloon, and then France 2 Cinema are the production companies that were involved. That's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah.
I guess a 4.
That's a good amount.
Yeah, I guess so. 4. That's not crazy amount though for an animated feature.
Generally, I feel like there might be like 2, 3 at most, kind of collaborating together.
Like 3, so 4 isn't crazy. If it was like 6, I'd be like, Jesus.
Yeah,
but that might also be too many hands in the pot.
Yeah, I feel like 4 is just like just like
enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let's do the other.
What you get for the? Actually, I'm really curious about the reviews for this.
So on Metacritic, there are 19 positive and 1 mixed and 0 negative.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
For our positive, Andrew here, who gave it a 90 out of 100 at Saloon. A gorgeous transcription of medieval decorative art and its themes into contemporary animated narrative, one that should enthrall children older than 8 or so, along with adults lucky enough to watch it with them.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because like this definitely, it's like it's family because it just doesn't really have any like it's not adult, but it's not kid. It's just, I mean, because it's just in nature of the story, it's just more of just a retelling, you know?
Well, no, but they also do that thing.
There's a little bit of violence in it, but there's no blood.
But it's subtle.
Yeah.
Like, I could see being a certain age in those moments when you realize, like, the Vikings are murdering people going over your head.
Well, the Vikings, just like the Northmen, as they're called.
Yeah, the Northmen.
Their design is very, like, evil and, like, devil looking.
Well, I thought that was interesting, too. Because, like, people from that heritage, it's like, they look like monsters, but it's like, well, to these villagers that you're attacking, that's how they would perceive
100%
the people coming in, ransacking and burning their villages down as, like, monsters. They don't even talk, they grumble and they growl.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're big, boxy, almost like longhorn looking, like, entities.
Like,
you know?
demon looking.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very big thing is, like just thinking about perception of people, like when you are isolated in your culture, your island, your entire life, and you see something like that, you know, foreign like that, your interpretation, your perception of that is gonna be wild, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like, could you imagine the first time someone saw the first time someone that had never seen an elephant sees an elephant, you know, in this time, they'd be like, what is this magnificent, crazy,
or what is this
terrifying monster? Yeah. You know, or like the first time someone ever saw someone riding on a horse, like you're like, what is happening? That's where a centaur comes from, maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Then the one mixed Owen Gleberman at Entertainment, who gave it 50 out of 100. Regrettably, the film's story is so busy yet flat that the effect isn't magical. It's more like watching the tale of some very enchanted wallpaper.
I can totally get that.
I can get that too. Which is weird too, because this movie is about an hour and 15 minutes, but it feels pretty long.
It's slow.
Because it's really slow. And there'll be moments that kind of grab you, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then it goes back into this drutting.
It's like visually it'll pull you in, like, oh, this is really cool, to then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like it's story time.
Yeah. But that was kind of it.
Fair.
Like here, should be in the mix too, but like Anne Hornaday at the Washington Post, they gave it 63 out of 100. Not nearly as accomplished narratively as it is visually.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I think, hitting the nail on the head.
And you know, it's like, but my biggest like notes that I wrote down is like, this movie is visually beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. It's like, and I was like, but then like story wise, I'm like, I couldn't really connect to it. And I don't know, like, there was a part of me was like, I wonder how much of that is just my lack of religious upbringing, or maybe even just like lack of just Irish religious knowledge, you know, because with the importance of this book, you know, the Book of Kells, the Book of Columba, like this seems like a very important type of like artifact, or, you know, like like text, scripture thing for this religion that I have no connection to.
Yeah, but I think with the counter argument with that is like, okay, then put it in your head as fantasy, because I mean you'll watch a thing of a obvious fantasy movie, and they're trying to get the book, or they're trying to find the map.
Well,
and
like
you find
even
yourself
like
enjoying. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but even like with that, what I was like, it's like I'm trying to think of like, well, with Brendan and his journey to finish this book and how he has to go and face Crom Crow.
We're probably totally butchering that, but
I think we are.
Just call it Crom.
Crom, yeah.
Just call it Crom.
You know, it's like I get, and then it's just like I didn't feel much weight to it, but I thought it was cool to watch. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like I never felt emotionally connected to these characters.
Crom was a pagan god of pre-Christian Ireland.
Yeah.
According to Christian writers, he was populated with human sacrifice, and his worship was ended by Saint Patrick.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah, we read that at the beginning. I thought.
Well, it's registered.
Yeah, I mean, because but even it's like then I started thinking like, well, then the journey of like Brendan going and finishing the book with Aiden Saint not
Aiden,
not Saint Aiden,
just Aiden.
brother, I guess brother Aiden.
Yeah, but
yeah,
you just called him Aiden a lot.
Yeah, which I thought Aiden's character was, I like the kookiness of the old man, but I also that was kind of like a cliche like type of character as well.
It reminds me of somebody very specific, but I couldn't figure out who.
Merlin from Sword in the Stone.
No, I see that. No, he kind of reminded me of Michael J. Fox.
Oh, wait, animation?
Yeah. Atlantis.
Oh, okay.
His like uncle or something.
Yeah, like that.
The old explorer dude that's like financing it. That's what he kind of reminded me of.
I can see that, yeah.
With the design and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what he
Well, it's like
me.
even just like, it's...
Now that I'm thinking about it.
He's a very interesting and fun character. It's just like, I don't know, by the end of the movie, and it was like this completion, I was like, I don't know, I didn't get it.
Well, I think also something that's always like kind of fun because Catholicism became such a prominent thing across the world, but also in Europe around this time when it was like kind of really setting in and changing over as like the prominent religion. Mm-hmm. I always do forget about the lores before, the mythos before,
like the pagan
Celtic thing, and it's always fun to remember like, oh yeah, there was a time that it was very like in touch with like nature and like he was the human sacrifice, but also like storms and a chrome, like there's this idea, there's more entities than the one.
Yeah.
And it's always fun to like always forget about these mythos that happened before.
Well, it's like, and then, I mean, metaphorically, you can kind of say with like Brendan, defeating and defeating Crom, it's kind of like the outward, it's like he's defeating this old pagan god for the sake of Christianity, using the lens of the eye of Crom to then tell the story of the four gospels, which I don't even, what the fuck are the four gospels?
Well, but that's also interesting too, because it's like, promoting this Christian thing, but while also being helped by a spirit of the forest, basically.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of interesting too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I feel like there's just a lot of lore and history in this movie that just kind of went over my head.
But I don't know. I feel like a lot of it too was just very like they could have dug a little bit deeper.
It makes me wonder like what, because I was trying to like understand like what the four gospels were, like, just kind of like what, like I was trying to find just something as basic, and I didn't really want to do too much reading into it because it just starts to get a lot. Like something as simple as like, like how the Four Noble Truths are just in Buddhism are just very plainly stated as four fucking things, Mm-hmm. So I was like, what are the four gospels and what do they each represent? And inside of that, do those four gospels, is there a meta narrative in this story that is a representation of these four gospels?
Well, I guess the four gospels would be Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
So I have to know those fucking, and I guess, well, and like with it being the gospel, it's essentially not a speech. I mean, speech is it's an easy way to put it, but it's like,
well, I mean, there's also a lot of gospels.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I was like, fuck, it's like, what is so important about these four gospels for the book? Is it just like this one person in Kells or Columba was just like, these are my favorites.
The four canonical gospels share the same basic outline of the life of Jesus. He begins his public ministry in conjunction with that of John the Baptist, calls disciples, teaches and heals, and confronts the... So, yeah, it's the four...
I mean, it's not the Holy Trinity, but
No, but it's the basic outline of the life of Jesus.
okay.
Are the four chronological gospels, which I'm assuming since there are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, that's the four in the. But it's like you said, yeah, I don't know enough religiously to like.
Yeah,
and it's really. I mean, stupid because I know what the Book of Kells. I knew what the Book of Kells was, but when we went into watching this, it did not register to me that that's what we were doing.
Oh,
because it's also the Secret of Kells. It was like the book, the secret book of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh, the Secret of Kells is about Kells. You know,
you think it was going to be about the island?
The island, you know, location or something like that. I didn't really. It stupidly didn't register to me that it was going to have so many religious undertones.
Yeah.
And I feel real dum-dum about that. But yeah, if it was called the Book of Kells, I'd be like, okay, like that makes more sense, you know, but it's like the Secret of Kells.
I mean, that's better than what I wrote when I was like, oh, the secret life of Kells.
See, even
like
that.
It's the fucking secret life of pets or some shit. So
yeah. But yeah.
I mean, yeah, because I feel like, but like hearing those reviews, it kind of is like, well, maybe I was trying to find something more, and really what I think maybe what Tomm Moore and Cartoon Saloon was wanting to do was just kind of tell a story about Kells in general, and an idea of how, but even an idea of like how the Book of Kells could have been like, you know, made. And just more or less just show it through just like a beautiful, like just they wanted to make their art, you know? Mm-hmm. Because like the way that like the story, like there's moments where like when the abbot is drawing his like map of the wall to protect Kells, to their town, you know, it's like it becomes very interactive with like the characters interacting with a world that isn't that they're in. Does that make sense? You know what I'm trying to say?
I think
like when Aisling is when they're climbing up the tree, it's like almost like you don't like physically see like, oh, branch and then this. It's like the world around them becomes like surreal. And because the art style starts playing with like how the journey goes.
Well, do you kind of mean like to like when Aisling and what's his name?
Brendan?
No.
Oh, Pungar.
At the abbot.
Yeah.
His uncle, the abbot.
Yeah.
When they're talking in the map room, and then there's a shot, and it's the abbot looking outside the window, and then not Aisling.
Brendan. That's what was confusing me.
Not Brendan.
Not
Aiden and the abbot are talking in the map room.
Aiden. Oh,
Aiden.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
When he first gets there.
Yes. Okay.
And they're talking, and he's looking out the window, but then suddenly the backdrop becomes almost flat, and you're looking at the.
Yes.
But they're still kind of dimension because the window here and him standing there, but then it kind of flattens out, and you're kind of looking at just the map of the wall. Mm-hmm. Like, so it kind of plays with dimension.
It plays with perspective.
And perspective, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, I know what you're talking about. There,
yeah.
Which I thought that was really cool.
No, that's like that's the coolest part about this entire movie is the way that they play with.
And it kind of makes you like,
yeah.
What? Like, just the way they play with their perception is kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's also like.
It becomes almost interpretive in some ways.
Yeah, but also my dumb brain was like, man, this style would make a fucking rad video game. Like Ori and the Wisp kind of like side.
Yeah, no, I was getting a lot of like Ori vibes from it.
Well, even like at the end when they're walking panel to panel, and that's giving you the Hakuna Matata getting older. Yeah. You know, like that was really. Like,
oh my god! At the beginning of this movie, I was sitting there like, "Am I watching Untitled Goose Game right now?" As he's chasing the goose.
Oh yeah, I was like, "What is happening here?" I thought you meant her like.
Oh, her like narrator. That
yeah, and I was like, I won't be able to watch this movie. She talks like that this entire time. And the entire movie. I was like, I won't be able to do that.
Yeah,
that little wispy thing. I was like, mm-hmm. But that ended. I was like, thank you.
I interrupted you with the.
I don't remember. I liked her hair.
It was really cool.
The animation on her hair was cool.
Oh no, the Hakuna Matata.
Oh yeah, but yeah, just that panel to panel, even like you were saying too, and the whole. That's the thing visually.
Also, what the fuck is he seeing in that little weird eye thing? It's a
magnifying lens.
Yeah, it's like it's a kaleidoscope. Let me draw what I see.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's just like.
But yeah, it's a magnifying just to get to all the details, and then it's kind of like it's.
I think that just like that's like I just have no connection with that. I guess I was just kind of like, cool. This is cool. This is cool looking. Hakuna Matata. This old man dies in the sea.
Weirdly, to say too, it's like it could have. I don't know. I feel like they could have gone a little bit longer, time wise, but also shortened some bits. But like a little bit longer to kind of dive more into like, yeah, I don't know. I just felt like the plot was very surface.
It kind of was. Like, I mean, if we really break down the like the plot line of this, it's I guess the intro is like Aiden leaves his island.
Yeah,
There's we getting that like the overture beginning narrative, the Isling's introduction, but then Brendan chases Goose. It's setting up, that they're building a wall because also there's the setup of like the Northmen are pillaging.
Yeah,
the Northmen are coming. What is that? What is? I'm thinking the British are coming, aren't I?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, like
Northmen are coming. There's a wall being built by the abbot. There's the scriptatorium. There is a set of like of importance on writing stuff down.
The importance of like having recorded history.
It's a tradition of that the abbot isn't so worried about the abbot's
and all the brothers are upset because they're like, we're building a wall, but
because abbot's being like, we need to build a wall for protection, and then when Aiden shows up, that's like the
catalyst for change.
Yeah. Brendan going out because then Aiden encourages Brendan to go out into the wilderness beyond the wall. That's where he meets Isling to collect berries to make ink.
Let's even go into that symmetrical thing too. Like it was a very interesting, when he climbs up on top of the rock and the wolves. The wolves I loved the design of. But as they're attacking him, they're like alternating.
Yeah.
Symmetry, and then
all of a sudden
she
asymmetry.
howls. Yeah, well, and then suddenly asymmetry, but then she howls, and then they all 3 and 3.
It's like,
and then they, like there's like this like methodical beat to it at moments, which I thought was
a rhythm
to it that I thought was really cool.
Then he becomes friends with Isling, but then the problem with Aiden, and then it's just like there's a build up to like the Northmen attacking that and the inevitability that this wall is coming down.
Yeah,
because it's like Aiden has said it, like if the Northmen come, we should run. Like he's experienced them, and the abbot's like, no, the wall has to work. Well,
and that's cool too. Every time you see they cut back to the village, the wall you see is getting a little more complete, and then the final time you see it, it's completely destroyed.
It's
and
destroyed.
All this thing is the tower,
and then that leaves Abbott guilt-ridden, as thinking that.
Because he locked his niece and his nephew in the scriptorium, and it got burnt to the ground. So he thinks he got his. He thinks he killed his nephew. Burnt to death. Like it's like,
and Brendan's return, and but then even like Brendan, like it's like there's kind of like there was a sense of Christ-like figure inside of Brendan, and like the sense of forgiveness to the abbot as he hands the book, and it's like, no, it is now complete, and we can share it together type thing. As because he feels no resentment towards the abbot, his uncle, for what he had done and whatnot. So there's a lot of religious feeling and undertones to this movie that it's there, but then like the story itself is very surface level. Mm-hmm. It is just a beautiful.
The narrative is surface level, but the symbolism is there.
The symbolism is there, and the visual nature of this movie is, I would say, breathtaking. It's maybe not breathtaking. It's really, like it's fucking good.
I didn't particularly, I found
maybe not breathtaking, but mesmerizing.
I found the landscape and the character design to be too different.
I like that everything was so unique. Like each character was unique, except for the Northmen. The Northmen all looked like exactly the same, which is also
the leader, except for the main one.
Yeah, like I feel like every character had a very unique design to them. Like even like down to even like how the hair, like everybody's hair kind of had like a different like design to it. Like there was one where their beard started like up at their eyes and went down. And another one, the beard was, or like the mustache was just here. Like it was like everything was very specific.
Yeah.
And yeah, the art.
That's the thing though, is I liked the landscape art more than I cared for the character art.
Okay. Yeah, that's
So
fair.
that's just me. But yeah.
I thought all of it was beautiful.
It was cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth a watch.
Yeah, it's what was it free on Amazon? Or no, we rented it, right? It was like $3.99, $2.99 or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, do you have any other thoughts before we get into our carrot? How many right?
I mean, what are we at?
We're like 41, or 42.
That's
Like
fine for an hour-long movie.
Yeah.
We shouldn't go over.
No. I mean, yeah. I'm surprised we talked about as much as we did. So.
Yeah, 3 out of 5.
Yeah,
It's good. It's also like it's not. I like that it's not a commitment. It's an hour and 15 minutes. It felt a lot longer, but it's like it's a pretty little tale and it's over. It's cool. I mean, it's with like the reviews and stuff are saying. It's if you're into animation, it's worth watching.
100%. Yeah, I would definitely.
It's worth watching just for the animation.
I highly recommend it just for its animation.
Yeah, the music's nice.
The story itself, yeah. Well, even though shallow, or surface level, I should say, not shallow, surface level, is enough to kind of like keep you like caring a little bit.
It's enough to keep you going.
Yeah.
The ending is great when you finally see the final page of the book.
Yeah.
Like come alive. I was like, I want a magical book that comes alive. That's cool. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, 3 out of 5. It's good. It was a very enjoyable little animated flick. It was a fun little journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of those, I'd watch it. I mean, that's not kind of like, I gotta watch it again right now, but I'd watch it again.
I would watch it if someone wanted to watch it. I would watch it with them, but
yeah.
I don't see any desire for me to kind of watch it again. Well, maybe like watch moments of like the animation.
That's why I think it's one of those movies that I feel like visually you watch it again, you're going to catch things you didn't catch the first time.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting. Just be like, oh, I didn't catch that.
Maybe if I learn more about the 4 Gospels.
There you go. You'll actually give a shit. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess that's everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, follow us. What are we doing next week?
Okay. What
are we doing next week?
Mary and Max. We're going to cry. I'm going to cry.
That's going to be a good one. But yes, going on with the 2000.
I mean, what this started out was we wanted to do an independent animation block.
And just so happened turned into both 2009. So now it's a 2009 animation specific.
But it's independent, yeah.
Yeah, still independent.
Which I feel like, I mean, because we love our animation and not just like our animated, comics.
I wonder if Fallon's ever seen Mary and Max.
I not many people really have heard of it, really, in my opinion, that I've noticed.
Should I show it to her and not give her any kind of warning?
Yeah. Yeah, see what happens.
She's gonna hate me. I think I need to warn her. Yeah,
I would definitely not have her go into it to having too many drinks, because she might get a little too emotional.
Not a glass of wine kind of movie.
Yeah, no. It's the glass of wine after the movie.
Yeah, I think that's. No, I can't. I won't be able to.
Anywho. We're gonna it's a good movie, guys. We'll talk about it next week. Like and subscribe on YouTube, comment, do your stuff, review, follow us on whatever podcast you got, whether it be Spotify, Apple, Samsung, whatever the fuck you're listening to it on.
Spotify
or Apple.
Apple, you can leave comments and that would be helpful on your reviews.
And reviews, yeah.
Spotify, you can't leave comments. You can just leave stars.
Yeah, that's right.
But that would help too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
This is Tommy.
This is Jacob.
This is
Tommy and Jacob's Mixtape.
Bye-bye.